Okay, greetings everybody. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Vorm, and today we're going to be checking out Star Dynasties with the Bloodlines expansion or DLC. But primarily it's Star Dynasties. I haven't dealt much with the Bloodlines part. So a little bit of background. I recently picked up the game. I've been aware of it for a while now. It had been on my radar for a number of years. It recently went on a very steep discount over on that little Steam platform. You know, that upstart gaming hub. And so I picked it up finally and have been fiddling around with it a bit. We've done one stream so far here on Twitch that I consider more of a test stream. I was pushing buttons and seeing how things worked and purposely doing wrong things just to try to understand some of the mechanics. So we have that behind us. Now we are going to try a for realsies game. In that vein, for both the Twitch folks and, those fine folks over on YouTube who will eventually see this, just realize there's a lot I still do not know, do not understand about this game. So I will be making likely terrible decisions and horrible mistakes, much to the amusement of myself and you folks. But I'll do my best to explain what's going on and why it's going on and why I am choosing my responses to it. In general, though, this is set in a distant future, fractured human empire universe. Humans expanded out into the star systems, and then some kind of mighty collapse occurred. Everybody descended into barbarism and basically back to feudal technology levels. Well, not so much technology levels, but feudal socio-political statuses. So it's very much shortly described as CK3, Crusader Kings 3 in space. It's much more about managing your noble family and controlling colonies in the stars. And it's very much based on a lightly developed feudal hierarchy, and I'll explain some of that when we get into the game. But it's not a standard 4X space game where you play a spreadsheet and you build up points and you craft different starships and you send them off to fight. And it's not that. It's much more involved in the politics and drama of the family interactions and the feudal master-servant relationships and all that kind of stuff. So it's more of a political simulator in that environment than it is a straight-up 4X strategy game. So you'll see what I mean. All right, so the first things we do is we create a character, the head of our household. We create our family, our faction, etc. I'm going to roll through some of that. I have a saved one that I may revert to depending on what happens when we do this random gen portion of our character building. I might jump over to it, but I want to show you kind of the initial part of what's involved in starting a new game. It is pretty much randomly procedurally generated each time, so a new map and completely newly generated characters in the world, families, factions, leagues, etc. So here we are with the button New Game hit. We are in game settings. We're going to choose medium. Sure, we'll use the Bloodlines DLC. It was cheap. I picked it up with the main game. Basically, from what I can see so far, the limited amount of looking at it I've done is over a period of time, you're going to get to unlock various bonuses for your family. I don't know if the other characters in the world, other leaders or the NPC players get the same bonus selections that you do, or if it's purely the player's benefit. I might look into that at some point, but I haven't played far enough into a game yet for it to really matter any at all. So, but yeah, we're going to play medium. Mostly these things, the difficulty levels seem to change the number of points that you get to spend on setting up your initial character and family. But let's go ahead and say configure new start. We have house points available 5, and we're going to go ahead and say our house is Vorm. And the faction name is going to be the Vord. Succession rule will be oldest child. Let's go ahead and get a different choice here, though. Cancel that one. Let's go grab my as close to a dragon as I can find symbol. They're more Phoenix related. Where are you? There you go. That one. And we're going to go with, of course, the royal purple. Which royal purple? Let's go with kind of the lighter purplish color. All right, there we go. We have our icon and our color. Then we have a number of traits for our home system. These are positive and negative changes that will be applied to our starting colony that we're going to be the Baron of. You can either pick them on a point system or you can randomize them. I'm going to randomize them and review, and I might pick again. Now, one of the things that's going to happen is we have a family customization point level here, and we can either sacrifice points on that list, which is coming up next, in order to gain points here, or I can sacrifice points here to gain points on the next screen. So depending on where I want to put points more specifically, I can go in either direction. We're going to leave it right in the middle here, so we have our 5 points and our 90 family points. When I hit pick random and it picks these, it might spend some of the points here as well. So it did. It spent one notch, 5 points of the family points to earn us one additional point here. So it picked, isolated a subsection. We have a plus 6 house size limit. So there's very tight and rigid population controls in the future. You're only allowed to have X number of people or up to X number of people in your family. And if you go over that, you're penalized. These are like societal norms and demands and expectations. So as you grow your economy, you're going to be able to afford a larger family as time goes by. But you got to work within the limitations. So this gives you a really big house size bonus in how many people you can have. Because typically you're only going to have like 12 to 14 to start. So getting plus 6 is really big. Costs 3 points. House system corporate tower. Wrecked corporate tower in your home system will make a perfect base for your taxation regime if you repair it. So this gives a repairable installation in our home colony that if we build it will give us +1 wealth and 10% tax collected. And then House Cyberdyne Series 4800. Basically, we get a military computer that will increase our military assignment effectiveness by 15%. I'm not too excited about that one. Or any of them. Let's hit random 1 or 2 more times. So message drone hanger. That increases vassal limit and spy effectiveness. Another one we can build up. We are home system nebula type, plus 20% to defending fleet strength, and fertility ritual. We are a fertile family, so increased birth rates and ability to get married. Keep hitting it. Isolated again. Bean counters, 20% more income, and fertility ritual. I like that combo. All right. Oh, holy crap. Look how many points it spent. It bottomed out my build my family tree. No wonder. No, let's not do that. What do we get this time? Great infrastructure, more installations, message drone hangar, the vassal limit. So it picked a bunch of cheap ones this time around. Security effectiveness, again. Oh, that's the same one. And Cyberdyne. Geez, it sure likes that house limit one. And it sure likes Cyberdyne. And there's Cyberdyne again. What the heck? Ooh, the blue dust mines. That one's expensive, but it's very powerful. Tell you what, just to continue, let's go ahead and just roll with this. So we'll hit go to character. So you can create a character. We will be Vorm, the Vormithrax. Vormithrax. Don't care about the portrait. Then we have the option to select a skill towards which your starting skills will be kind of slanted. I'm going to go with diplomacy. No, let's go tech. I'll go tech this time. And then the remaining skills it's going to generate, I'm just going to leave it on average. I'm not going to go either direction. So random. We have traits of brave, gives us bonus to military and security. Tribal, which helps with other tribal folks, but hurts with individualistic folks. And then there's less tribal folks than there are the other ones, so it can be a bit of a problem. And we're also greedy. We get admin bonus, but diplomacy negative. That's not, actually we went tech this time. All right, that's fine. We'll let it fly. And then we have generating our family. We can do a balanced family, a random family, or just create them character by character. And again, it's a point pool thing. I'm just going to say create a balanced family. Boom, there we go. So that is our family. That is us right there. So Josephine is our spouse. We have 1 child, Ismet. He is 7. And then, we got nieces and nephews galore. So we've got 4 family members that are underage and 5 that are of age. I'm not going to be able to fill out my, oh, never mind. It scrolls down. We got a few more. Oh, yeah, we got 6 kids underage. All right, that's fine. And it shows kind of where their skills are slanted. So military, admin, diplomacy, Mine's military. My wife's is security. Yeah. Why is mine military? I thought I said tech. Huh. All right, whatever. And then we hit start game. Did it switch it on me? It switched it on me and I didn't notice. That's fine. I've got a saved game we're probably going to load anyway. I'm just going to show this, and then I'll probably switch over to my turn one saved game I created previously. Behold the glorious Purple Empire. All right, so here's the start of a randomly generated map. There's actually more to it than what you can see currently. But we can only see out to areas that we have direct knowledge of through people that we know. So we don't know everything about everything that's out there, but the very close approximation of our location, we know most of the details. So this is us right here. If we scroll out, it says the Vorm and has our little icon. We're surrounded by the Austin Federation, the Hammond Systems, the Sharp Sector, the Jefferson Sector, and the Edwards Planets. So random map. Sometimes when you start, you will be a subject under a master. So you will be the duke of a section or a territory like this, but you will be a vassal of an archon. So there's 3 levels of the hierarchy in the vassalage system. There are barons. Every single colony that is habitable by humans is controlled by a baron. So that's the lowest level. Baron runs a colony. Then you have dukes. A duke is a baron who has other barons as the vassal, his vassal. As soon as any duke gets a vassal of another duke, or as soon as a baron accepts vassalage from another baron, he becomes a duke. So he's still the baron of his own colony, but he's wearing both hats, baron of his own colony, but then duke of the territory or faction. Then above that is the archon, and an archon is just a duke who takes vassalage of another duke. As soon as that happens, if you accept vassalage from another duke, then you become an archon, and you become upgraded. And that's pretty much it. It's those 3 levels: barons, dukes, and archons. So there's constantly shifting sectors. It's very much a political drama, family dynastic drama kind of setup. Lots of random events are going to occur. Good ones, bad ones, crazy, weird ones. There's tech events that occur as you rediscover lost technology from the fractured empire and so on. There's a lot of limitations on what you can do because of the storyline setting where we're empire fractured, technology disintegrated. We're just kind of barely trundling along with ships that can move from colony to colony, but we have a lot of limitations. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. We can zoom in and such, but I think I am going to switch over to my other map. So let's go load game. That one. Sure hope it's this one. I don't think it would have saved over the other one, but maybe it did. We're going to end up in the same spot. Did it auto-save when I loaded in? Nope. All right, so yeah, this is my other one. All right, so, same info I talked about, but different map setup. So we are this purple section here in the middle. We are intent on destroying this other purple empire and this other light purple empire, because there can only be one purple empire. So, screw these guys. We're going to have to take them over. I will not have any other purple on the map. We're going to make it all purple anyway. It's really rough to do map painting in this game, though, because of all the limitations and restrictions. All right, let's take a look at our family. So this is me, Duke Vorm again. We are 25 years old, and if we go to our family tree here, we've got my mom, Verlee Vorm, my sister, my brother. I got a couple of sons, my wife, a few nieces and nephews, some in-laws. It's a bit of a bigger, some of these are nobles that are loosely connected to me. Excuse me. But otherwise, close that. Yeah, this is our empire. So we are, again, surrounded by some others. We are not beholden to anybody else. We are a duke unto ourselves with no archon master. Notice the cross-hatching on this color. This indicates that this person is a vassal. So this is a duke who is going to be a vassal of likely this empire because it's got this contiguous kind of green, same color border. But the hatching means that this is going to be somebody who is an archon. So if we go look at the capital here and who is running it, Duke Sinclair Silva, that is him, the Silva colonies. But above him is the Faulkner Dominion. So that would be this guy. So He is a duke who is a vassal of an archon that is running this section here. And that looks like it for our local area, just the one archon so far. All right, so let's focus in on just our own section for a moment while I explain a few things. So in our section of space in the Vord faction, we have 4 colonies. Notice there are some stars that do not have colony information. They either did not have habitable planets in the past or have descended so far that they're unrecoverable by us at our current technology level. They act as only movement nodes. There are some effects in the game that will say it goes out a certain number of spaces, an effect does, and you count these as a movement space in that regard. So if something was happening here that said it's going to be good for a range of 3, you would count 1, 2, 3. Not just the actual habitable colonies. You count these nodes. But otherwise, they have no interaction whatsoever. So you can't click on them, you can't settle them, you can't build on them, nothing. So we're stuck with only the colonies that were set up and terraformed before the collapse. We can take them over, we can recover some that get completely raised, but that's our only choices. So this is our capital. The little crown here indicates is the capital of the Vord faction. There's 3 other barons within our faction, and they are vassals of me. So if we click in anywhere in our space, and I go here, I can see my vassals. So we have Baroness Camille Vincent over here in Omicron per se. We got Baron Everett Hendricks over there in Al Niat. And we've got Baron Matt Contreras in Beta Aquarai. So they are their own noble families. They have their own family members. They have other nobles that are in their colony with them. And for the most part, they're going to be, helping out. The master vassal system largely denotes as the master, we must protect and help them develop. And we also must administer punishment when they're naughty. If they do things against society's feudal rules, then, we get called upon to discipline them. And we have various choices in how to do so, which will have various effects for them liking us, disliking us, and other. So that's our responsibilities. Now, for them, they are going to run their own colonies. I can only lightly help out in certain ways and kind of push them in certain ways, but they're going to do their own thing. They pay taxes to me. I protect them. If we go to war, I expect to call up their militaries to help me in the fighting, and they expect me to honor their calls if they get attacked. So if Capella here decides to attack Omicron's going to say, hey, boss, I pay you taxes. Get over here. Help me out. And I will be honor bound to do so. Otherwise, I lose a bunch of rep and status and so on. So, the standard feudal arrangements for vassal and master and all that kind of stuff. It tracks a lot of stuff. You're going to see a lot of numbers, a lot of sections. I got a fairly good grasp of a number of things, but this is one of those games where you are absolutely gobsmacked by choice. You got so many choices, so many things you could do that I have not yet gotten to a point where I know what I should be doing. I cannot yet identify specifically opportunities and dangers and so on to a great degree. I've got a pretty good handle on the interface and the UI and the overall meta structures of things, but I need a whole bunch of play and practice to really get a handle on a lot of the micro stuff. All right. So again, we got 3 barons who are vassals of me. Let's take a look at specifically a star system. So this is the star system of G. And, it's okay. This denotes it's our capital. This denotes that, I'm the Duke here in the Vord. So we have G. It's the capital of the Vord. It has 3 active installations. This list here is installations, and they serve 2 functions. They give you the bonus that's listed when they are repaired and functioning. So only these top 3 are repaired and functioning. All these other ones on the list, I have to put time and money into and also assign a counselor to oversee it in order to bring them online. Now, secondarily, instead of just the bonuses they provide once they're active, they act as a hit point value for the colony itself. If there's a fight above the colony, chances are very high that one of these is going to get destroyed and it'll go back into a ruined status and have to be repaired back up again. So you do not want repeated fights over your colonies or even over colonies you plan to take. You want to take it in one go and then, try to hold it, because repeated back and forth fighting is going to wreck everything. And the colony, when it loses this top one, it's always the last one you lose. When the main settlement gets wrecked, the colony is basically abandoned. It goes dark. It can be recovered, but it's a specific action, takes a lot of effort, a lot of money, a lot of time in order to bring a colony back up to any kind of a usable status. So it's a bad deal. Just try to avoid having multiple fights over colonies. It's nobody benefits from that. All right, so both hit point counter for the colony as well as giving you all these bonuses. And you can see the costs here. The first number is how many action points. That's this value right here. Number of action points. You got a limited amount per turn, and it increases based on a few factors. You'll get more and more as time goes by, but you have to spend a number of action points to initiate the repair. It has a cost in monies, whatever value that is, or whatever they call that. It's stated somewhere in the kind of codex, but I forget. It's named after some made up metal. We're just going to call it monies, and it takes time. And the amount of time it's going to take depends on the capability level in admin skill of the person you put in charge of it. I've seen it range from like 2 turns to 15 turns, depending on how good the person is that you put in charge. So there's the 3 factors. You got an action point cost, a cash cost, and a time cost. And it also ties up that counselor for the amount of time, which has its own, cost benefit analysis. All right, so that's installations, very important. We have a number of tabs here to get details. If we go back into our colony screen, so we have the power projection. This indicates roughly how much fleet strength can be brought to bear on that location by various people in the vicinity. So this is us. We can bring 28 out of our maximum 34 capacity of fleet strength to this location to fight. It's a little hard to gauge from that because there's other factors that are going to be involved when combat occurs. Strength of the skills of the admiral put in charge, and there's a bunch. It gets complicated. But this will give you a rough idea of the types of numbers that can be brought to bear, both by allies and enemies to that location. We've got claimants to that location. So claimants to own it. The Silva Colonies has a strong claim, and the Vord has a strong claim. To rule it, various named folks, mostly all here local and mostly my family members. So we're an established ruler in this location. We're not an upstart or a newly installed leader or anything like that. We've got rebellion, also a very important number. Right here it says the unrest value for that location. Unrest 6.3. It rebels when it hits 100. A rebellion occurs, and you have to, some pretender rises up, takes the charge, and tries to overthrow your rulership. Shows the change rate and shows the reasons why. Living space is the installations. These provide both living quarters when they're developed fully, as well as jobs that people work at. So one of the main drivers of unrest is living space. And if you just keep unlocking those installations, this number will go down and you will have less and less rebel chances. And there's other modifiers, as you can see. Then we've got the line of succession. So oldest child is the law. My heir is Duke Kabil Vorm. And then the next one's in line and so on. We have notable families. Yeah, notable houses in the star system here. We've got the Bonias, the Normans, the Petersons, and the Vorm or Vormithrax. And finally, the history, different stuff that's happened here. This action button you'll see all over the place, depending on what you've clicked on. Either the faction will have an action button, the planet will have an action button, people will have an action button. There's a generic action button over here. This is basically how you get things done. Most of the time, it's easier to get things done by clicking on the target of the action, clicking this, and then selecting appropriately. Because if you click here or somewhere else, you have to kind of wade through a bunch of intermediate menus, but this is the direct way to do it. All right. This is not like Stellaris or Civilization. It's not a 4X. It's more CK3, Crusader Kings in space. It's all about the diplomacy and the feudal vassalage system and the requirements of maintaining, honor and all that kind of stuff. It drives itself more on that. It very abstracts the combat systems And it's not a standard 4X space empire builder where you gather up specific resources of different types, you combine those into spaceships, you basically assemble a fleet, and then you tell the fleet, okay, go here and fight. It doesn't work like that. It's totally different. So you'll see. I'll stop explaining things here pretty soon to start playing. I just want to cover some of the major stuff real quick, real slow, I guess, in this case. But yeah, so if we click anywhere in my empire, we get our faction screen. First thing I need to do is actually assign counselors to these 5 different categories. These are the skill categories that each character has listed right here: 12, 22, 6, 29, and 6. And so I'm going to assign counselors to each of these positions. It's going to combine my skill in that category with their skill in that category. And that is basically the number used to determine how effective we are when I assign those counselors to jobs related to those skills. So we want high numbers, of course, in every category if we can manage it, but it's going to depend on the people we have, the capability of myself, how happy everybody is. Happiness plays a big factor. You get big bonuses if everybody's really happy. You get big negatives if everybody's really sad. Lots of stuff like that. So let's go ahead and let me see, what else do I need to mention? I've kind of shown a star system. We've got the faction info. Let's just start doing things and it'll become more clear, and I'll keep talking about it. How polished is it? It's been around for years. I mean, it's not new. I picked it up because it was on a 75% off sale on Steam like a week and a half ago. I had looked at it a couple years back and never pulled the trigger on it. I had other stuff going on, but I decided with that sale that I would finally go ahead and grab it and take a look. I'm impressed. It's got a lot of cool stuff about it. We had a good time during the test game that I did a couple days ago. Had some hilarious things happen. It was really amusing and kind of funny. And it was things happening that were, I made a decision. A few turns later, I paid the price for that decision. And then simultaneous to the bad event that happened because of that decision I made, we had a secondary thing happen because of something I had done like 12 turns previously and that carried forward to the current time that gave me some hilarious options in some storyline event stuff. So I was impressed the way it kind of layered things in from multiple sources to have this really funny thing happen that was a hoot. So, you know, I don't know how often I'm going to be able to look forward to that, but all right, let's do the basic things. So we have 12 action points. That's going to be our big limiter in how much we can get done during a turn. I need to assign my council. It's going to cost me 2 points for each person I assign to the council. So that's 10 of my 12 points right there. But we got to get it done as quick as possible. So we're going to click on the admin counselor. It's going to show me the choices of my close family members here, and it's going to rank them by their admin rating. So my sister-in-law is currently the highest at 32. So we'll say, sure, you're in, sis. And we got that little pop-up denoted she was happy that she was assigned. These are assignments for life. They're not voted in. They don't serve a term. They're the counselors for life or until I get annoyed enough to fire them, which has major consequences if I try to do that. But yeah, so let's go ahead and keep moving. Military, my wife, you are required to assign your spouse to one of the counselor positions. So, you know, she's great at, or good at military. So she can be my military advisor. This is diplomacy. For diplomacy, we've got my brother. He's 36. You're in. This right here is showing the 2 people involved in the decision, shows the little event thing here. This is his opinion of me, promoted to council. And this is, I forgot what the name of these 2 were. They're specific. That's respect. And that is moral consequences. So yeah, it's tracking a whole bunch of things for your character, and I'll show you in a second. But we'll get rid of that. All right, moving on to security. My sister is going to be in charge of security. And finally, admin, or I mean technology. Oh, look at my mom. Mom's a beast in the technology department. Good job, Mom. Vorm. Unfortunately, she's 62. She's not going to be around much longer. They don't have life lengthening technology in this universe, apparently. So I don't expect her to be around long, but you're in charge for the moment. One downside to having really aged parents and such in this system is happiness is extremely important. You want everybody as happy as possible because you get big bonuses. And when you have crises or negative events that occur and somebody dies, that is well liked by a bunch of your folks, they all get sad simultaneously, which has this pretty massive cascading effect on your capabilities. So, we'll take her wisdom though for while we've got her. All right, so we have our council assigned. We're down to two action points remaining. Some other things to note. So we have this section right here. These are pop-up kind of reminders poking me to tell me to take care of a few things. So here we have the following members of your house have not been given an assignment. So we just got everybody assigned to their positions on the council. Now it wants me to give each of them a task to perform. I'm not going to have the points to get the tasks assigned this round, but next round, that'll be our primary focus. We'll spend our points getting everybody slotted into various tasks that are pertinent to their jobs. This is telling me that if we repair installations on our home planet, it improves the house wealth and capabilities. I know that. They're telling me because I have more than $30, and one of the things we can improve here only costs 30. This one right here. So we have the 2 points for action points, and we have the $30. So I could initiate the repair of the armory. I'm not going to, but I could, and that's why it's popping that message up. This one is the following children will grow up to be more capable adults if you appointed guardians for them. So 3 of my either direct children or nieces and nephews are in need of a guardian, and assigning them to a guardian basically puts a formative effect or a weighted effect on what kind of traits and skills they're going to develop. They're going to kind of sort of mirror the person that is their guardian. So you can kind of guide what skills they're going to be acquiring. It's also a system, essentially a hostage system, where you can send your heir or your other kids of your noble houses here off to other empires to be, have them be guardian, or have guardians there take control, where they can still develop and so on. If it's a friendly nation and you're just trying to foster goodwill, that's great. But it could come out that they end up being hostages if war kicks off. So you have that option as well. It's also telling me that 2 of my folks are unmarried, and we might want to, hook them up, find some spouses for them. And then finally, you can expand your empire by pressing or championing the following claims. Apparently, we have a claim on HD 69830. That is up here. That's this one, HD 69830. And then also Yilden, which is right next to it. So we have claims on these 2 locations. I think they're only weak claims. So if we click on it and claimants. So yeah, we have a weak claim on each of them. So we can try pressing our claim, and basically having a claim counters the negative aspects of trying to force the ruler out. You want to balance the negative aspects with having a strongest claim you can manage. And it's done on a point system, and it'll show little indicator flags, and you can see just what the consequences are going to be. So if it's like a 5 flag negative and you have a weak claim, it'll have 2 or 3 flags to the positive, meaning the net effect is only 2 points of negative for whichever value, depending on that. So it's something you have to balance. But we have claims on these 2 systems, which is great. I like having claims on nearby systems. All right. What was else? So that's this thing. This is our money. This is our vassal limit. So we are limited in how many vassals we can have. That limit can be raised as indicated by having a higher admin score, higher tech score, or increasing our gross income level. It'll raise how many vassals we can manage at any particular time. There's also a job I can give one of my counselors that will raise the vassal limit by a point or 2, depending on their effectiveness. If we go over that limit, bad things happen. Numbers go negative, and we get penalized for trying to control too many things. But nothing really new there in these kinds of games. So that's all of these. My general reputation is I am liked. I am currently super thrilled in the happiness value. We can see those here. And then we can also see that in detail right down here, reputation and happiness, the values and where they're derived from. So our personality and what traits is helping and hurting us in that regard. As the game progresses, we're going to get a lot more things on here affecting it up and down. But yeah, so empathy, all my friends are happy, so I'm happy because of traits that I have. I like my friends being happy, therefore I'm getting a huge empathy bonus to my happiness value here. I think that's because I'm kind. We get a big bonus, the gold numbers in the middle there. 25% more happy when friends are happy. So, a lot of numbers. But your rep, your happiness is tracked. There's just so much. All right, there's more on here. I'm not going to show you all of these different symbols and icons and all that, but yeah. So we got 2 points left. What are we going to do with our final 2 points? We got some choices. I think I'm going to assign one of my counselors to another job, and that will be actually. Do we get that facility going? Let's do that. Let's get that facility going. Why not? Instead of putting one of my counselors on a job, I'm just going to go ahead and spend my money, which is probably not advised. We're not making that much money. Oops, if we go here, we can see my breakdown. So we've got 6 income. That's from my home system is providing me 6, 5 for the colony and 1 for one of the installations. And then our administration bonus is giving us an additional 0.1 because of my admin and my counselor's admin. Our tax income, these are the taxes we're putting on our baron vassals. They're sending me these amounts. Personal projects, this will be a number based on unused action points. So if I end a turn with action points remaining, it gets converted into a certain amount of monies that are added, and then we have our total net income. So I'm only earning 8.1 per turn right now. That is not a lot. So that's 4 turns worth of income just to get this one facility up and running. But let's do it anyway. So we're going to get the armory up and running, plus 10 personal protection. That helps me against assassinations and accidents and events and things like that. So, but it also puts a hit point on the colony. So we'll say repair, and then I pick who I'm going to have in charge of that. We'll have our sister who's the most effective at it. Her 32 admin skill, and then my bonus added on top of it. So 3 turns, that'll be ready to go. All right, we are out of action points. Not much we can do without action points. There's a few things, but it's early. I'm just going to let time progress so you can kind of see what's going on. A couple final things about the interface and information. So click anywhere in an empire and you get their faction or empire information, where you can make different choices and see different things. If you click on a planet, you see the colony information directly. You can see the baron who's in charge of the colony, etc. We talked about this section. Down here is a comparator. I can drag anybody's portrait on here, and then if I go pick somebody else, it's going to show me information in comparison to whoever I have selected down here. So it's showing the opinion of Duke Vorm because I have Vorm in this little selector area. You can also use these as hotkeys. So I could drag Beta Aquarai down here, and that way I could just click on this and go right to it. So you can use these as hotkeys, and you can use this to compare information between characters. Over here is a bunch of filters. So we've got the default filter. We've got a population unrest level. I'm not going to go through them all, but you'll see me occasionally flip to these. The unrest number is actually pretty important to take a look at. So apparently we got some unrest here on this. This is of note of us. It's got 46 unrest currently. Unrest is bad. If we go take a look. They're at 46. It's gaining 1.1. Nothing specifically in here is too bad. They do want some more living space, so another facility. Other than that, I mean, legitimate ruler, legitimate owner, general opinion bonuses. So we just need to get a little bit of unrest action over here. We may send a counselor over to help suppress that, get it back down to a low level so they don't have to worry about it for a while. But something to keep a note on. Also, keeping an eye on other people's unrest is good, because I could send diplomacy or spy missions to increase unrest in their areas to try to force a rebellion and a change of leadership, and then help out the rebel leader. Different things can happen. But yeah, these are map filters for various info. Over here, we got the bloodlines thing. Basically, when this progress hits 700, we get to pick a bonus from first on the inside level of the tree, and then we can work our way up a chain as we unlock individual entries. It's mostly looks like 10 plus 10 skill here. It's various little bonuses in various categories. I don't know what else the Bloodlines DLC actually adds. I didn't even really read it. Contacts, if you want to go find somebody in a galaxy, this is a way you can sort and filter to find information or find people. Secrets, there's a secret system in the game. So if I suddenly take a shining to, a visiting noble woman and want to do a clandestine meeting with her, it would generate a secret of a certain difficulty level, and then the difficulty level is how hard it is for other people to discover that secret and then be able to use it against me. And then the general actions list. Oh yeah, victory. How do you win this game? Here's how you win. Control 4 systems out of 58 required. There are 115 colonized systems in total. So the goal of the game is to bring 58 total colonies under your control. As soon as you do that, you win. There's 115 total. You need half. So we've currently got 4. I'm not sure how detailed that screen is going to, if it's going to show any more info over time or a chart or something. But yeah, so there's definitely not 115 on what we can see so far. So it's going to expand out in various directions. Yeah, I haven't played a game long enough to really see how the map develops over time. But yeah, there you go. I forgot that. That's how you win. All right, I'm going to hit end turn, and let's see what nasty surprises the random event generator hands us. First up, a most pleasant accident. I was walking along an access tunnel discussing business with Lady Lavie Norman. We're already moving into a I fancy another woman event. So that's Lady Lavie Norman, no relation to me, just a visiting, I think, no, she actually lives here. She's part of House Norman, one of the noble families on my planet here. But yeah, not related to me through bloodline or through marriage or anything. We got blocked in with a cave-in, spent some time together, and then we got out okay. A secret has been created that is labeled very hard difficulty. Your wife is in love with you. That's hilarious. Coming as a follow-up to that first one. So, I mean, that's good. My wife is in love with me. That gives me some bonuses. She's happy. Somewhere in here, happiness. I think that triggered Duke Vorm is happy. I guess maybe they're just reporting the current status, but whatever. What else? Duke Bayan Henderson wants your vassalage. Somebody is saying, I want to be your boss. I want you to be my vassal. So I have to make a choice here. It will move the map and it positions these little pop-ups appropriately. So this star having this portrait, that's the guy who's asking. So the guy in charge of this faction is wanting me to be his vassal. If you accept, the Vord will become a vassal faction of the Henderson faction, which will raise him to an Archon. He is currently not an Archon. He is the Henderson faction. He is a Duke, just like I am a Duke. But if I say yes, he will become an Archon. You know, do I like this guy? He don't like me. His opinion of me is pretty poor. And, you know, my opinion of him is pretty poor. I can ask without asking for anything in return or accept. I can refuse. I can accept with the caveat that he has to pay me money, which it says he will do. Or I can say, give me this star. So we have a claim on that Yilden star right here, which is part of his territory. So I could make this a requirement. So I could accept vassalage in exchange for adding Yilden to my faction. I'm going to say no. I don't see it. I mean, I would like to ask for Yilden. It might be accepted. It might not. It probably won't be because he's only got 3 colonies. So, yeah, I'm just going to say no. And it'll pop up some little red triangles showing he's unhappy with me refusing. So there's the red triangles. That means his opinion is dropped. -9. Who else? Another one. Everybody wants me to be a vassal. What's the situation here? He's got a little better opinion of me. You know, things are a little nicer in this regard, but it's the same situation. I could put guardianship of his heir as one of these stipulations, which he would accept. He apparently doesn't consider me to be too bad a guy. Or money, or Capella, which is another bordering star or colony to me. Hey, Capella, what are you looking like? Wealth of 6, ooh, unrest of 57, only 2 active installations. That's not very tempting right now. I'm going to say no to this one also. We're going to try to stay independent if we can. Baron Dooley Sloan is offering guardianship. So the Baron wants me to be the guardian of the 9-year-old. I don't think she's the heir. No, it's not an heir. That's the Capella system. I wouldn't mind if I want to get this diplomatically. It would be good to get into good graces with Baron Dooley. Right now, he doesn't have a high opinion of us, and his opinion of him is okay. His stats are mediocre. He's pretty good at tech. He's also 42. He'll be around another 20 years probably, barring accidents. He is charming and forgiving. He's also, you know, the Baron, and he's the rightful Baron, so he's got a pretty strong hold on the system. And I do not have a claim on it or anything like that. Do I want to take a ward, though? I can only do one, barring ending that relationship in some fashion. Is there anybody else I'd likely do it with? I think I'm going to go ahead and say yes to this one. Let's go ahead and become the ward. All right, so green is usually good. You are now the guardian of Mistress Neum Sloan. All right, Lady Toby Peterson wants marriage between Commissioner Sarama Vorm and Emilio Peterson. So this is another noble house in my home star system. They want to get two people together. So my sister and Emilio would be married, and they'll live in House Vormithrax. So my sister has a higher political standing than Emilio, so he would come join our household. Whoever has the higher political standing is the home destination of the two characters. So you always want to be careful of that. So my sister is aged 42. Emilio is 35. He looks like a good guy. He's brave. He's kind. He's satisfied. He's got a good military skill. He's also got a tactic, military tactic, the rear guard interceptors. Wait, does he have that, or does he have the chaos veteran tactic, or does he have both? I think he has both. All right. So yeah, he looks like a good dude. And I am looking to grow my family. What is our limits right now? We have a 12 limit. So if I give permission for any of my folks to have kids, I got to be careful. We might bump over our limit. You raise your family limit by increasing your income. The richer you are, the more folks you're allowed to have in your family because you can pay to support them. Very strict population controls in this, post-collapse starfaring feudal dynastic simulator. You have to, whoever is the lord of the relationship, the people in the relationship, has to give permission beyond a first child. A couple can always have one child, but then after that, you have to specifically give permission before they can have any more. So we have both a vassal limit and a house member limit, keeping us in check. And we have to increase basically our political and our economic standing to increase either of those values to get stronger. I'm gonna say yes. I think this looks like a pretty good match. I'm not sure it would help me to try to get her a husband outside of our area. So let's go ahead and say yes. They are now married. Everybody's happy. Lots of little green triangles. Yay. And again, when my friends are happy, I get happy and my stats go up. Your spouse wants to have another child with you. We're now at 11 out of 12. I think there's a screen that shows me, I forget where it's at. Is it the house, the family info? There is a family tree setting. So this is me right here. So we have two children. That's my heir, age 8, and then we have a 5-year-old. Have an heir and a spare. If I say no, she's probably going to get unhappy. Happy wife, happy life. Let's accept. All right, visitors. So it's now listing the visitors. This is the Guardian ship. This is her arriving here at our home center. So we'll just say okay to that. Sometimes you get visitors and they have nefarious purposes in mind when they arrive. They can be spies and saboteurs. You always want to be careful about who's visiting your system. Your nephew has been sneaking into the archives. Uh-oh. I like reading about battles and generals and all the ships they blew up. Is it okay if I keep coming here? So we have a choice. By all means, you'll have full archival access. So Lars Vorm gets +2 to their best skill, which currently is what? Oh, I can't even see their skills. That's always weird when they tell me their best skill and I can't see what their skills are. You don't get to see the stats and skills. You can see the traits they've developed so far as they grow, but you don't get to see their skills until they become of age at 16. 16 is the age when they become a full functioning societal member and you get to see all their details. So, it sounds like military is probably where he's leaning, giving his excitement about this. But there's a 15% chance he'll become somewhat unhappy and he'll corrupt the archives and we'll get -5 to all of our house scores in the 5 various categories. So we run a small chance of something bad happening. Or we can say, sorry, no, not run that risk, but he's going to lose 17 points of opinion. He's maxed out on opinion. 17 points isn't going to do much, but I'll take the 15% chance. All right, apparently nothing bad happened. So, uh-oh. And I don't have the money to deal with it. All right, so the rumor mill is mongering. The mill is mongering. Housewarming Texas rumored failure to use properly trained representatives is being seen as disrespectful. I can't do anything about it because I don't have the money and I don't have Housewarming Thrack. Oh, I don't have an empty diplomacy seat I could assign. So I'm stuck. I just got to take this. And unfortunately, it's going to give us +2 to unrest for 10 turns. Adds the neglected internal affairs. So here in our home system, when we go look at unrest, we're going to get a -2 on this list, and it's going to stay there for 10 turns. So it's going to build up unrest here. And I can't do nothing about this one. Don't have the options. All right, that little beep means that it's done processing everything. We're now back to 16 action points. If we go look at our cash, our net income is 9.5. We converted no points from unused because we used up all of our previous action points. Yeah. All right, we have survived the first turn. Yay! Is it related to Stellar Monarch? I have no idea. I'm going to say no. It's its own game. I haven't seen any references to Stellar Monarch. It may have a similar, I've never played Stellar Monarch. I don't know what it is. From the name, though, it sounds like they cover similar topics. Okay. What shall we do for turn 2? I need to get all of my counselors assigned. We have one of our counselors working on building up that facility. That little wrench icon there shows that we are repairing the armory at G. Assigned to Executive Isabel Vorm. In 1 turn, the armory will become functional, providing the following effects: +10 to personal protection. Oh, range 3. I forgot to explain the range thing. Very important. Anytime you see an installation with the little Wi-Fi symbol here, that indicates that it's going to provide its bonus outward along the star lanes, whatever stated distance. So you notice when I point at it, it's highlighting a bunch of local stars. Those are the stars that are in range of that effect. It's only going to provide it to allied houses, though. So even though these guys are lighting up here, that's because it hasn't been built yet. So once it's built, it will check who's an allied house, and those locations will get this benefit. So it's not just going to help me. It's going to help provide the personal protection for the other barons in my faction. So very important. A number of these, especially the bottom ones, have this little symbol. These are the ones I usually focus on if I can afford it, because they provide a big bonus. +20 to spread descent. So, my neighbors across the way are not going to be happy when I have this +20 spread descent and I send one of my agents over to, rile up the rebels and try to force a rebel outbreak on their planets. There's ones that spread descent, ones that counter descent. You can kind of see. So there's a pretty big list of different installations, and they're randomized which ones appear on which planets, which I really like. It's an interesting system. The game plays a lot like a board game in this regard. And I love board games. So I'm always excited when I see fusions of kind of board game basics in how things are handled, but translated into a computer medium where the computer's handling the minutia and the background work and the maintenance and stuff. So it feels a lot like that to me in the way this game works. Just, you couldn't do most of this in a board game because there's just an insane amount of interrelationships you'd have to track and all that in a cardboard real world format. But, I can see the underpinnings of board game mechanics in how things are working. But I like this system. The randomization on the planets makes for interesting decision making and trying to stack bonuses in certain locations and so on. All right, so I got diverted there. We got some messages here. A minor event. Apparently, somebody is now the guardian of somebody. I don't really care. And people got married. A couple people not in my direct family got married. That's great. Keep growing. But yeah, the symbols here will change based on what's going on. So also, this is a gas giant system. So they're getting +10% to allied attacks on nearby systems. That is an asteroid belt. Greater casualties when battle occurs. Those are the only ones that are particular. That one's a nebula, +20% to defending fleet strength. So that's another randomized factor that you got to kind of pay attention to and be aware of the effects of when there's fighting in certain locations. All right. The big thing we have to do is assign our counselors. So let's bring up our faction info. Right here, it shows who has already been assigned. So yellow right there, color yellow. That means this person in the portraits matchup is already assigned to do something. I have somebody who's idle, Emilio Vorm, our brother-in-law, the new member of the family that just married in. He's available for me to have him do work. It's not just your counselors that can go out and do assignments. You can have anybody else available in your immediate family also do assignments. The downside to the counselors is they add their skill to your skill, and they're great at doing local assignments. But when you tell them to do an assignment anywhere else in your little empire, they do not travel. They're not allowed to leave the home planet. Their jobs are too important here locally. What they do is they send agents of theirs out to do the work you've asked them to do, but the consequence of that is you only get 50% of the normal amount of effectiveness. So if they had a total of skill 100 here locally, they'd only be able to apply 50 of it if they go remote. Now, these guys that are not part of the council, they get 100% of their bonus, of their effectiveness. And you can choose when you set the job and tell them to do it, it'll ask you, do you want them to work locally and lose 50%, or do you want them to travel to that location? Traveling to the location could have consequences because, it could come under attack or so on. But, there's that balance. You have to choose either remote or local, and the council members, if they're doing jobs, are can only stay local, and if they go remote, it's not actually them traveling. All right, but yeah, and there's a filter down here for assignments. Nope, that's colony installation, showing who's got most installations. Which one was it? There is a filter. That one, assignments. Yeah, this one declutters the map so you can see just where assignments are going on. So that's the only one I have going on right now. All right, so we need to get more people. So let's click on that person, click on actions, and then we have assigned tasks for our military leader. We can hide fleet movements, we can improve defenses, we can plan an attack, or we can have her quell unrest. So we are now the unfortunate beneficiary of more unrest because of that event that popped off. So we're going to have some build up. We're only at 7.2. I could put her to work here, and she'd be really effective because she's local at keeping that suppressed. It's going to keep going for 10 turns, unfortunately. Or we do know we've got 47 unrest over here in Omicron, and that value is not increasing quickly. It's not really super critical, and she might take care of it herself. The Baron here might do her own unrest suppression. It's interesting in the test game I did, we had a situation where 3 different hierarchies were all suppressing unrest at one planet. The Baron of the planet in my faction was suppressing unrest. It was like at 90 something, 95. It was about to rebel. So she had her own counselor suppressing. I sent my agent over to suppress, and the Archon of our league also sent somebody to suppress. So we had like 25 suppression points per turn being applied to that place. It got even funnier because then like 2 turns later, we went to war with our Archon. So, good times. But yeah, you can have that kind of thing happen. So just always remember the barons of those places are also fully functioning barons, and they're going to be doing their own things. So they'll build up their own installations, they'll suppress unrest and so on, depending on, what resources and assets they have available. So I think I'm going to, I don't need to hide fleet movements. We're not going to do any of that in the near future. Improving defenses, gain a bonus to your fleet strength while defending a chosen system. I don't think we're likely to come under attack. Let's see, which one was it? This one, military strength. I don't think that was the one I wanted. Combat prediction, that's the one I want. All right, so this is the combat prediction. This is showing me the chances that we're going to be successfully invaded by another fleet in my own systems. So very unlikely. There's no colony here. And 1, 2, I guess they could get back here, but yeah, there's not likely to go all the way back there. But yeah, so it's red because I am not likely to win a fight there, and it's green because they're not likely to win a fight here. So I don't think anybody's going to come after me currently, militarily. This one's an interesting color, though. Yeah, we're not really under any pressure there, so I don't need to worry so much about improving defenses right now either. Plan attack is kind of similar, but the other direction. Gradually gain a bonus to your fleet strength when attacking a chosen system. Ideally, you're going to either have or diplomatically forge or form a claim against a system. You can send a spy ring in to kind of destabilize and prevent them from learning about your plans. You can start a planning attack, and you let several turns go by, so an attack bonus multiplies your fleet strength. Then you try to hide the fact that you're building up fleets to send at the location. There's a system for that, which is pretty cool for the way they've abstracted the combat stuff. Then you trigger the attack, and the defender has X number of actions they can take to try to build up their own defensive fleet and call in allies. And the more successful you are at hiding the attack coming, the less they have notification to try to do that. Then the attack occurs, and you assign an admiral, and you pick tactics that the admirals have learned, and it's kind of a rock, paper, scissors thing in regards to which ship compositions and which tactics counter which other tactics. And then it rolls some dice, and you get told whether you win or lose. It's intricate enough for the kind of system, at least in the limited amount that I've interacted with it so far. I'm impressed that it has enough of that kind of cool flexibility and planning and multi-turn build-up and so on for the kind of game that this is. So we'll hopefully get into a little bit of that a little bit later. But yeah, so I don't think I need anything except for Quell Unrest. And I think I'm going to let this one, I'll keep an eye on this and I might switch it. But let's just do Quell Unrest here locally.